What is that face? My story is a bit long, so please bear with me. 3 days ago, we agreed on a divorce, separation, but now I want to change it. We've been married for 9 years and have a 3-year-old daughter. A little less than a year ago I found out that my wife had an affair. She was feeling lost with a lot of resentment throughout the marriage. We failed the first reconciliation mostly because I was controlling and gave myself the right to get angry easily. We then went through a lot of marriage counseling sessions and decided to try again, second reconciliation. This second time started about 6 months ago. Things went very smoothly. I'm being much better a person, no controlling whatsoever, very calm all the time, never raised my voice. We haven't got a fight since, and my wife said multiple times that she impressed with my new version. We still meet the counselor once a month. The only issue is we don't feel love, or at least my wife's part. Even though we care about each other, we tried to spend time every night to talk and share our feeling, but she found no passion. She doesn't enjoy bonding. I felt like she's pulling herself out recently but didn't know why. Then 3 days ago I read on her phone a FB Messenger conversation with her friend. Now 2 notes about this. 1. I haven't read her phone since the second reconciliation effort. She also has her phone locked, but this time for some reasons it was unlocked while she's at the gym. 2. This girlfriend of her in Japan also had an affair. Her husband got a revenge affair and things got ugly. This girl reconnected with one of the man followed her before and found a new love and kept blabbing about it with my wife. Anyway, in this conversation, my wife complained about the passion issue and apparently has decided to give up about 3 weeks ago but didn't know how and when to talk to me. She also told our counselor in her individual session a week ago about this. I got very upset because in our nightly conversation, I mentioned a lot of times that I want her to be open rather than worrying of hurting me, and that if she decided to give up then please let me know immediately because I don't want to waste my time trying. So, when she got home, I confronted her, still very calm, and told her that I can accept her decision but feel disrespected because I've been telling her to be open. She admitted that she was wrong for not telling me earlier, that she has made the decision because she doesn't enjoy being around me, and she's worried about my feelings so she didn't know when and how to say. She said we wouldn't go anywhere with our effort and if I have another person now, she doesn't feel jealous. I also blamed her friend as a bad influence in our effort, which she disagreed. We agreed on getting a divorce. Things got ugly the next day when I contacted her friend to tell her, with no ugly words, better just be a listener rather than an advisor because she's not a positive example for my wife to follow. Clearly, that girl told my wife and my wife got very upset that I don't think she can make her own decision among other things, and now even more determined to get a divorce. She said throughout the whole time she's still worried about my true self of being like that, try to manipulate the situation and make things ugly. Now in our couple counseling session, we talked about obstacles. Why can't we love each other? I know mine, the affair is still lingering somewhere even though I feel much better. Today I know even better that I actually still love her a lot, but for some reasons I don't express myself out, maybe because I think I hold the upper hand, versus she had an affair, so she needs to love me first. Her concern about me making things ugly could be her obstacle beside the fact that she doesn't feel loved. I want to put more effort into our reconciliation because I think we were going in the right direction, that my wife's feeling of no passion is actually normal at this stage. The most important reason is that I love my daughter a lot and I want to watch her growing up every day, so I would try anything to make her happy and give her a wonderful childhood. My wife thinks otherwise. She said that if parents are not happy then the child will not be happy. My argument is that is for highly conflict couples. Anyway, I tried to persuade her but failed. The night I confronted her she felt very soft and said that she doesn't deserve the better version of me and that I deserve someone who really loves me. After I talked to her friend, she's been very hard and determined. Last night I tried again telling her to try for our daughter and she asked me that I only care about our daughter but how about her feeling? What did I do wrong and what should I do now? I was hard. I implemented 180 after the affair too. I exposed to her family, to the Om's wife. I didn't go into details of that because my post was too long. But in the first reconciliation try, I did not forgive correctly. It's similar to the thread forever wearing the scarlet letter. I was angry and brought up her affair for nonsense. Like one day she wanted to buy food before going home and I told her to go home first because it was raining, and then she said that I should let her take her own decision and I got upset telling her your own decision leads us to this, etc. Imagine a few more times like that. I have to admit that she was pretty patient. One day she lost patience and moved out. We split our daughter's time and started the divorce process. That was hard. I went to individual counseling and that counselor focuses on me being a controller all the time and getting angry easily. I thought that was right. I don't want myself to be like that. Then that counselor met both of us. We tried to reconcile again. That counselor agreed that she should have her privacy, that building trust is not about controlling the other's phone. What can you say? But it's all true that the second time, wish for reconciliation was not from her. It's true that she didn't get many consequences. So, I executed reconciliation incorrectly. It's never because she wanted me back. She has some old friends at work that she trusts to confide, and now thinking about that, they were all divorced. This time she said that she has to experience life without me. She said that maybe she'll have to learn the lesson the hard way, and it's fate if we ever get back together. I know the pick-me dance would not work. I just love my daughter too much. But it'll stop. I promised myself after last night's conversation that I won't start any conversation with her anymore. I also want to note that we didn't have the right ingredient for reconciliation, but she did feel regret. In our nightly conversation, she told me multiple times that she wished she didn't talk about the married issue with another man that led to the affair. By the way, her affair lasted only 1 month and they didn't have intercourse yet, the best I know. She did try a lot in bonding, I can feel that, at least to satisfy my need. But at the same time, she's a cold-blooded woman, you can't really know what's inside her head. Like in recent days, after we decided for divorce, she still acts very soft and talks to me like nothing happened, like we are normal friends. Apparently, our marriage was in a bad shape before the affair, just that I didn't know. All the stress with the newborn, I was controlling and easily got irritated. I thought that it was fine, but my wife was building resentment. I think the main issue is her being fancy about the in-love feeling. Our therapist always tells us to respect feelings, so she has more reasons to believe that her feeling is legitimate, and what we were experiencing was like the end of a marriage. I read several books and I believe love is a choice. So different opinions. Anyway, I guess I shouldn't contact her friend. I hate that friend, but I was trying to manipulate the situation. I should have only focused on what I can really control, and an acquaintance in our life is not one of them. I played the pick-me dance not for me but for my daughter instead, even though deep down I know it doesn't work, especially only a few days after. I just need to let the water flows the way it is. Everything happens for a reason. Hope I can do it. Oh, and I am looking for a new, male, therapist, just for myself. Where I live it's crowded and most therapists could be millionaires. They are all very busy, and if I call 5 and 1 gets back, I consider myself lucky. That said, I had the feeling that the last therapist doesn't understand the perspective of a betrayed spouse after just a few sessions. But I kept trying because I was unhappy with the previous therapist too. I thought maybe it's not them, it's me. And it's true that I have issue with my temper and controlling. My therapist seems to be great for personal development and improvement, as I see myself improved, so I stick with her. A few days ago, according to my wife, she went to see the therapist individually and told her that she wants to leave me because she feels no passion. And the therapist agreed. Now there's something to note. My wife doesn't have a happy childhood. Her dad was a drinker. When she's small, she saw her dad abuse her mom multiple times. She was small, so she didn't know what to do. She knew that she enjoyed her family together and wanted that abuse to be ended. When she grows up, she kept thinking that her mom should have left her dad. Even though now her parents are in better shape, but issues still happen here and there. Maybe that experience shapes her thought that our daughter would want her mom, my wife, to leave if she's not happy. Half a year later, update. We are separated, the divorce process is almost finished. Since we have a toddler girl and share joint custody, we still need to communicate occasionally. She wants to be friend, but I just can't. I actually hate her so much. Not just the affair, I kind of get over it already, but she keeps lying a lot. Badmouth to friends about me. Made up stories to reason her decision. I don't want our daughter to sense a hostile environment between us, but at the same time, I just can't be nice to the person who treated me badly. What can I do? We communicate mostly via text, email, but we still face each other when we pick our daughter from the other person's place. What I meant is that right now I can't even be like a businessman. Whenever she starts talking, I get angry, so I just shut off and walk away without even saying anything. Because of all the lies and blames she puts on me, I hate her so much. I guess that'll fade out with time when I can finally forgive, but not forget. She kept saying that since she's not leaving for the other man, the divorce was not because of the affair, but our incompatibility instead, which to me is bull crap. Anyway, that's how she made up her mind, asking to be friend. Glad you brought this up. We still have a group of common friends, and as much as I want them to be on my side, they all treat us equal, which I understand. Anyway, occasionally they gather up and invite both of us. As much as I don't want my ex to be around, I want to see and talk to the friends as well. A funny example of lies, in such an occasion, we all went to dinner, and because I lost a bet previously, I had to pay them all. Later that night my ex texted me asking how much she had to pay and said that because we are now independent, she should pay. I never asked her to pay, but since she was asking and insisted the independent part, so I texted back her portion and if you want to pay. A few days later I found out that she told some of the friends that while I paid for everyone, I asked her to pay her part. It's funny that she always insists that by leaving the marriage, she will set an example for our daughter and her friends that they can choose to live a better life. Never mention the sacred vows or what marriage vows are. Note that while our marriage had issues here and there, it is not an abusive one in any sense. It is just like every other marriage, I would believe. I totally agree with you, and I will teach my daughter to value marriage and keep her promise. In our custody agreement, she stresses on the part about not saying bad things about the other parents. I guess she's afraid that I would do that. But given what had happened already, I think I should be the one who concerns about her bath mouths me to my daughter. I'm not afraid because I am who I am and I love my daughter too much, but it's just very upset to think about that she would say bad things about me to my daughter. My comment: she is correct in saying that the divorce is because of the incompatibility. Your hate is because of her infidelity. Had she instead asked for a divorce, not cheated, you would be sad and hurt, a lot less angry. You don't be friends with your ex when your marriage ended because of infidelity. You are polite and cordial, you discuss the children but nothing more. She lost the right to ask you anything about your personal life when she slept with someone else. Story 2, and an open-ended one. Well, after an emotional affair with another man, my wife began to see problems in our marriage. The problems became an excuse to continue the affair. I would get through a lot of emotions and, eventually, we would divorce. Reading this will offer some warning signs to others. The first signs began many months early. She started, for the first time in 2 decades, to openly complain about me to my face. She would make negative remarks about our marriage. Prior, our marriage and our dating had always been great times. We were happy together, very much so. But my old bad habits she had accepted suddenly became targets for her complaints and her criticism, as did our marriage itself. She shifted the blame for her affair onto me. If not for these faults, this affair would never happen. Bonding turned into an act we did in one place and only on weekends. She went through the motions without much passion or interest, yet she would still have a good time. So, I felt routine, but still enjoyable. However, many of the small signs of affection stopped happening. Nightly hugs, sitting on my lap, morning kisses, romantic emails, and I got nothing special for my birthday, no cake, no card, nothing. She started working out intensely to make her body look better. I guess I did not see these signs, and the emotional affair continued on until it reached a climax. She got upset over an issue, but the issue did not get resolved with comforting as before. Shortly thereafter, she disappeared and moved out and allegedly into the home of a friend of hers. Then for some period, she claimed those criticisms and complaints were the reasons for her moving out. However, eventually I learned moving out was a safe way to spend more time with the other person without losing me. During this separation, I became confused. I actually believed she left for those reasons and tried to work on them. This was my period of confusion. I did this up until I fully understood she was having an emotional affair and putting blame for it on me. Often, she would claim to be doing things with other people, anyone whose name she could remember. But, in truth, she was doing these things with the other person. Over time, she would reveal this more and more. Who was she really spending time with? I got 3 letters from her stating she loves me, but she is not in love with me anymore and we don't belong together. This was a surprise. We had been together nearly 2 decades. The second letter asked for a divorce, which I reluctantly obliged and started. She shifted the burden of the divorce onto me too. Again, the letters mixed affair thoughts with those criticisms and complaints. She is not in love with me anymore because I don't put the toilet seat down. She even called me and told me how wonderful he was and how I would like him. She went on about fanciful thoughts about the unknown future with him she had. They might get married. They might have children. They might sleep together that night after a party they were going to. This phone call really happened. As for children with me, she said, maybe I didn't want to have children, because I didn't want to have your children. Emotionally, the first few days I hit a grief maximum. I really felt the pain of loss. She was not coming home. This gradually moved into sadness. The sadness was there during the confusion period when the blame was put on me and I was left to discover the emotional affair. And throughout I tried to bargain with her, even agreeing to let the affair continue if she came back. Ultimately, I tired being blamed and criticized even after I stopped doing what she originally criticized me for. One date I realized I could never trust anything she said. It was then I knew our relationship was over. Never would she answer my call, my text, or be dependable to do what she said she would do. Throughout this, she was 2 people, a person with him and a person with me, and they would each do and say something different. She was really confused. To effect the divorce. After all, it was now me divorcing the person that left me. I had to get into the reason for the divorce. That is how I came to know what I write today. Read it for your own benefit. I hope my situation helps you understand your situation clearly when you suddenly find yourself and your marriage being criticized by a confused woman who needs more time away from you but wants you to still be there. She is having an affair. The worst type of affair, an emotional affair. Now, after the fact, I would say the worst part is recurring memories. You spend decades with another person. You do thousands of things together and have thousands of experiences together, and when they leave, whether you want them to or not, those memories creep into your mind and sadness follows. I get restless and become unable to sleep. I wonder how she can do it. 2. She would have all the memories. After 2 decades, she cares a lot about me and is willing to support me financially while I get my life going again. I lived at home and took care of her for a long time. Should I accept this from her, financial assistance? Any thoughts? She will do the see you when I want to see you while she keeps carrying on with her new love interest. Has anyone experienced this before? Any thoughts on the pros and cons of this financial arrangement? For me, it feels an emotional roller coaster at times. I call it an emotional affair because it's not a physical affair. The primary attraction is emotional, not physical. I may just go along with it because I really have no place else to go, no one else to help me, and I can use the assistance to bet my life moving forward again and to have time to think through my personal issues. I am a couple weeks from leaving, so life is slow now and not as happy as it might be when I am gone. We are finishing up paperwork. She said she will cover half my expenses, but will she do it if I choose to live in another state? Just what was the reason for that offer, to keep me around for tormenting? In a way, I suspect she is intending to carry on with me after the divorce without the other guy knowing. Meeting me for bonding, mostly to do things she may only want to do with me. Odd experimental things, I guess. If dating were easier here, I might be less stressed by all this. Or if she were ugly, I might feel relieved to be free. But she, even at her age, is attractive. So, I lost a good partner and spend nights alone now. She left almost all of her clothes and her things. She said she was going through a midlife crisis. That's what she said. She thought it best for us to divorce. I mean, it's been one thing one day and the opposite thing the next. I think leaving the area is my best option, and starting my life over someplace else where I want to live will bring me happiness. The paperwork, she should sign soon. She was worried about alimony but agrees to a split by whose money is whose. Only when signed will I finally believe it. Soon, very soon, any day now. For my own happiness, after signing I intend to leave, buy a car, pack a bag and go on with my life where I intended to go before all this happened. Mostly it thinks she does what she does, supports me financially, to know where I am, so she can find me. She also gave me a cell phone and pays my bill, so we can have those talks. It has been difficult because for 2 decades we were apart less than a couple months in total, and it was happy times. Adjusting to being alone has been very difficult. And she did this when I had no job, no friends, and had been pretty much doing house chores while she worked and supporting her. She walked from one relationship into another and feels no loss. She goes on with a friends forever talk and maybe she'll come back. That she's going through something. You know, I am tired of hearing it. But I have to listen to get through the divorce, even that call. I know she is afraid. Making relationships is hard. If she loses her new one, then she will be like me, having to face the world alone. Once signed, I am free. I think she has been pushing that off too. She does everything to keep me as long as she can, to be as certain as she can about this new relationship before I part with her. It is all rather cowardly, running away and doing this. But I have come to know that virtually everyone goes through the difficulty of having to be alone later in life. She will get her turn. She was not wise enough to see why I was so good for so long and why I tried, despite her, to reconcile this relationship, because everyone will after it ends feel pain. My marriage is over. I know it. What I came to understand makes me feel worse, not better. A lot of can be said about just never seeing or knowing your ex ever again. It is better to not know than to get stuck thinking about them. Pretty much the divorce has gone on 8 weeks since I first contacted the attorney. She has returned to me twice over this period. And it's been divorce, no divorce, and so on, back and forth the entire time. She cries when we talk. But, without doubt, she is carrying on another new, and to her, better life without me. I am kept stuck in the background for as long as possible. Even the support me financially thing, one night no, next day yes. She contacts me from work. So, come Monday she will call. After all, she hasn't seen me all weekend long. Regrettably, dating in the USA is not easy and people tend to cling to each other for any reason. Even this guy, if he doesn't love her, will cling desperately for bonding. Lose her, no bonding, and she will cling to not be alone. Life can get all messed up here. She has been living another alternative life without me. The difficulty is she is slow to sign. My attorney is being gentle to get her to be served and to sign at one time, then it is done. My heart is broken, no doubt, and I can at times feel very sad. Worse still is this having nothing to do. I don't work. I think to learn to fly. That might be fun. And I know there are other people who also do not want to be alone out there. They too are looking for me. It's not the end of the world, just an ugly emotional time for me. After all, it was 2 decades we spent together. She would rather go for excitement over commitment and security. She already said that. Filing in the hours of the day is hard after separation. Leaving feels the best thing to do. Start over someplace anew. Just need those papers signed. I am hesitant to open a bank account or buy a car until then. But if it keeps on keeping on without signing, I think she will sign Monday. Then, I must go, leave this place, and take a long across-country drive to clear my head to a beach where I can think about better things, sun and sand. I'm not sure if I should stick it out and stay here or do what I said. Mostly I think ending contact with her and just moving on is best. She, who has found a fill-in for me before leaving, feels more in control. Staying means getting the crap end of the stick. I could meet other girls, but maybe it would be better someplace not near her. Like I said, she struck when I was weakest, no friends, no job, and very dependent on her. Makes me think she really hated me for a long time. If not me, my indirect control over her life. For so many years, 18 years, she was very dependent on me for money, for everything. I never took advantage of this. I was good to her and never cheated. Encouraged her to get work and get the very career she has today. I was fully supportive of her and helped her to start saving for retirement. She built up her own financial security through me. But, in her heart she must have resented me and my position in our household. For as soon as she could, she pretty much took off with the first guy to come along after getting the beginnings of a career. I have passed on at least 20 solid opportunities over the course of my marriage. She stabbed me right in the back as soon as she could. She does feel a noble attitude towards matters with me. I need to prove herself to be a gold person with a noble attitude. This is what I mean by not feeling good due to sticking around. My feelings get worse. The waffling on divorce and staying together just adds to it. Keeps the pain alive. She has been carrying on an affair for 7 months. Nothing she has said to me about me was true, just her shifting the blame onto me for her actions. Once she signs, I am gone. Everything I thought was correct. Still don't understand the financial assistance. She says she is there to help me and wants me to be happy. I don't know what that means. This makes it sound like I am crazy or something. I may or may not take it. She did mention her alimony concern once. She worried it would be in the divorce. I said no. We would stay to our agreement to divide by whose money is whose money. She doesn't want money, she just wants to leave and be happy, so she says. But it is just stupid to carry on with this any more than leaving when she is having an emotional and physical relations with another guy. She has told me for 2 Fridays about how she will spend the weekend, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday with him and what they will be doing. I suppose she is trying to put me off, to get me to leave, before she made up imaginary friends and events. The truth has been slow coming. I'm not happy about it, but she needs to sign. Once she signs, then the advantage shifts to me. As it is, I am tethered to this problem. It's hard to believe how happy we were not too long ago. I cannot see this working out well for her. We were together 2 decades. She became a great life partner, really. And 7 months ago, she took up an affair, and now wants to divorce me or keep me as a safety should it not work out. My weekends are spent alone. My week is spent alone. I am retired. She was next to retire. To me this is one big betrayal. Most of my family is dead. She too has only 2 living relatives. With no one I am simply alone all day every day. I think to live in say Philippines because I can meet and easily have friends. I live in the USA and if you are not married it sucks. She knows it too, and it is the reason for her trying to cuckold me. She spoke about getting back together in 3 months, 6 months, whenever many times so she can work through this problem of hers. So, what? I just die a little more every day. Last we spoke, she said I could see her next week on one day for lunch, really. She passed on the signing the divorce papers last week and seems she may put them off next week too. I will get my passport in 2 weeks, and afraid I am just leaving for whatever there is there because it is definitely better than here. We were together 2 decades. She became a great life partner, really. And 7 months ago, she took up an affair, and now wants to divorce me or keep me as a safety should it not work out. My weekends are spent alone. My week is spent alone. I am retired. She was next to retire. To me this is one big betrayal. Most of my family is dead. She too has only 2 living relatives. With no one I am simply alone all day every day. I think to live in say Philippines because I can meet and easily have friends. I live in the USA and if you are not married it sucks. She knows it too, and it is the reason for her trying to cuckold me. She spoke about getting back together in 3 months, 6 months, whenever many times so she can work through this problem of hers. So, what? I just die a little more every day. Last we spoke, she said I could see her next week on one day for lunch, really. She passed on the signing the divorce papers last week and seems she may put them off next week too. I will get my passport in 2 weeks, and afraid I am just leaving for whatever there is there because it is definitely better than here. I know she is being naive and making a mistake. The guy doesn't trust her and he is a control freak. He's 37 and never married. Usually, there is a reason. He checks her phone, questions her on what she does and watches every friend. It's a matter of time before he slaps her and calls her a b. He must be going nuts inside. He saw what she did to me. Now, it's not a forever situation, me being around. Mostly, I want to keep the relationship with her, you never know. And it's been 2 decades and we still get along through the divorce. But it's hard to see her because he's a control freak. Besides, I look physically good, and if I dress to show my body, well, she may just go right to bed with me. Remember, I have slept with her countless times and when she was at her best. Today, she is in her mid-30s. Bonding isn't my reason to be around, it's more the relationship. As for me, early 40s, well, it's not the best time to be looking for women. I know her well and she is a good partner, just naive. I kept her to well and protected. Seems I have to hit on mothers, women in their 30s. Any advice, while I hang out here for a few months? For me, I am just going to have fun, date and fool around as much as I can with other women and forget about this. Yes, she can have him, but I am going to have a good many. Does this ever work out? Will she ever come back? It's been a near 20-year relationship. Last time, she left in the night, I thought it is over. So, I am now looking for someone new. 3 points. Point 1. She was happy with me. I was her whole world for 14 years. Then, I became unhappy. Unable to make me happy, she too became sad. This went on for some long time, until she thought to find another who could be happy and make her happy. Point 2. What came out was her desire to not hurt me at any cost to herself. If she wanted to do something but I suggested I did not like it, she would not do it, or even if I spoke unfavorably of it. This had to stop. I need to be supportive. Point 3. My desire attitude put her in a position of feeling obligated to sleep with me not for mutual enjoyment, but for my sole enjoyment. This has to stop. I need to be romantic. It is so rocky now I cannot tell if it will work. We are divorced, but she wants to be with me, and talks happily about getting married again. She ended her relationship with the affair partner. Point 1 is the reason for the affair. Points 2 and 3 came up because of the affair. My need to reduce my insecurity may conflict with her need to heal. She says she needs to be alone, but I say I need to be with her to heal my insecurity. Which brings up point 2. How such a mess came to be after 20 years is unbelievable. I blame the affair partner. To have the affair, he had to manipulate the worst parts of her character and our relationship, bringing them to the surface. Last week, with the help of a female relative of mine, she ended the relationship entirely. She said it was not possible to be friends with him. She told me how she ended it. She felt guilt towards him. Now, we are together. She is happy to be with me. I can see her love conflict is gone. Regarding the affair relationship, she says she feels relief it is over and does not want to remember it. She wants to forget it happened. She wishes it never happened. We are divorced. She wears our wedding ring, and I am more considerate of issues that before I never gave consideration to. The reasons that encouraged her to look elsewhere for happiness. Can I say how this will go? No, I cannot. The affair was a romantic affair, the worst kind, where he was rescuing her, the damsel, from our marriage. My finally leaving, the divorce, and this guy revealing his true intention. Marriage and children and a lifetime together likely caused her to come out of the fantasy. I am cautious, very cautious, and I have taken a wait-and-see attitude. If she can get herself over this, we are really good, because it won't likely happen again. We are both attractive. I always find attractive partners. Many, if not all, of my girlfriends have quietly cheated. Attractive people get offers. To me, her ability to end this affair is very meaningful and positive for a future together. We don't own people. She felt powerless towards me. How this came to be, I don't know. Now, I back off and let her make decisions. I am more asking than telling. She was very immature when I met her, and I became something of a parent figure and not a relationship equal or partner. After little more than 2 weeks, she went back to the guy. I am getting numb to this, but I still feel it difficult to sleep alone at night. She seems interested in a lot of men. She talked about us together forever, then an hour later she left. She didn't know come home from work, called me later and said we had to talk. Well, I have to accept she is no longer the person I loved and married years ago. That is true. I can see it. Just sleeping alone is difficult and starting over seems scary. I am a bit of a coward these days, and I felt safe with my ex-wife. I am older and less interested in change. That guy, he will suffer. I think she was meeting up with other guys in our neighborhood. She is using him to get rid of me, to then get rid of him. She remarked many times she will only be happy alone. I did along the way meet a girl, a younger and prettier girl. I asked her to marry me and she said yes. That was a welcome relief this time around. Instead, I focused on the new girl. But sleeping seems hard now. But I can feel some joy and refuge in the new relationship. Oh well, this really was the end. Not getting married anytime soon. That was the first girl I met. Finding others now and planning a trip. What I have learned. A marriage is over once a woman has slept with another man, unless you catch it early. It is definitely over once she says I love you to him. The blame shifting, and it will always be your fault, never ends. And every issue with you is a reason to leave for him. If they loved you, they would stay and do whatever to make it work, no matter how difficult, and take everything they have to take to get back together. We had 6 go-rounds. She comes back to me, then goes back to him. 6. When the solution was easy, she held tightly to the one thing that kept us from leaving the area, her job. She did it because she wanted to be with him. The pain is the investment. Marriage, different than dating, makes each invest in the other because it solidifies the commitment as a lifetime commitment. What is good for one becomes good for both. This is the great pain that divorced people often feel. The selfless effort seems for naught and half or all of the future seems taken. I have no guilt. I did and took all I could to make it work. When misfortune hits her, she cannot say I walked. Me, I am lining up young girls, hot girls, to have fun and sleep with. I will count my fortune, grow my fortune, work out, and enjoy a better life in a better place. I wanted this before the divorce but honored my commitment. She left a wealthy, educated, attractive, healthy, intelligent man for an uneducated guy who resembles a troll, who had rickets in childhood, that does manual labor, smokes and has near black skin from working in the sun, has a small X. I saw pictures of it. He is 2/3 torso, 1/3 curved, bony legs, and he is intensely jealous. His face, well, it's ugly like a troll, long and thin, with deep eyes under a heavy forehead and a big nose. The top of his head is flat. Really unnatural looking. Possibly the grossest feature is his mouth. But the surprise is on him. She has slept with men at work, and she left me not to be with him, but to live alone and have many partners. She wants to play. He is the tool to get me out. She left everything in our place to come back to it after I leave. She commented she will do better than him to me. He is just the first to come along wanting commitment. She cannot have children, so life is just a game for her. She admits to me she will likely be alone and is okay with that. It was years of me having multiple orgasms and her having sometimes one that likely got her thinking. Now, she showed me she can have 8 or 10 now. She has gone bad. So, it ends. The crazy woman keeps finding reasons to reach out to me. I want to tell her screw off. She can pay the rent. I can drive her car. She asked me not to delete the 15,000 pictures we have. Crazy. What does she think? It is over. The pictures are garbage. I want her to remove pictures from our time together from her Facebook. Replace the good stuff with images of her life now, sitting in a backyard next to a drinking and smoking troll. Really, with my money we traveled the world. She will never do any of that again. Nope, just vibrators and anal plugs for her. That's his repertoire. I know. I did it to her too after I found out. I got my turn. It is about me now. This is ridiculous, her reaching out to me. What do I care if she keeps the pictures? She will never be again that sweet girl I loves and had so many great years with. I know that now. I am even planning to ghost her. I am off soon to travel Asia, new adventures. Just getting my mind around it enough so to be disgusted by it. I fancied he was attractive, but he is truly revolting. Remember, I was in it getting my turn at the new her. I did things to her too I would never had done to the girl I fell in love with. People here were saying I am cuckold. But no, I got more than him over the past months. She spent most of her time with me, and I did whatever and made her do whatever, and she did it. So, I missed out on nothing and got a plateful of the new her on my way out the door. I will get a new sweet beauty to replace her, and take all those pictures again with the new beauty. My comment, she sucked. If you could ever fix yourself and find a good one, you are going to be embarrassed how high of a pedestal you put this duplicitous women on. The worst thing is there are actually women out there who are worried, but you spend all your emotional energy on someone who is so not worth it.